The shocking rules of America's first Utopia intro hook, picture it, 1681. The docs are buzzing, and word going around that there's a brand new colony where you don't have to bankroll a church you don't attend, where the guy in charge won't raise an army, and where the very first law says you can't swindle native land. Sounds like a Reddit fanfic, right? But it actually happened. William Penn set the whole thing in motion. He wasn't a starving idealist, either. He was the son of the king's favorite admiral. Instead of cash, the king handed over a slice of North America the size of England and said, "We're square." Most heirs would have flipped it for quick money. Penn turned it into a 1680s startup powered by Quaker Wi-Fi. Over the next 15 minutes we'll roll through the 5 wildest rules, Penn wrote. Watch reality crash the party, and see why a dream that flopped still sneaks into the DNA of modern rights. Section 1. The Man with the Plan. Penn had spent time in jail for refusing to remove his hat and caught classic Quaker flexo when he got his own patch of woods. He came in hot with a plan. No forced worship, no guns, no land grabs. Investors back in London thought he'd lost a bet, but within weeks German Lutherans, Irish Catholics, and Sephardic Jews were booking passage because, for once, the marketing matched the product. Section 2, Rule Number 1. No state church taxes. Period. While Massachusetts was still fining people for missing Puritan roll call, Penn's frame of government said, "Your soul, your bill." Freedom sounded great, but freedom doesn't pave roads. Penn had to sell land fast, so he slapped together sales that were part real estate deal, part Mad Libs. Paperwork piled up, promises blurred. The upside, by 1690 you could walk a Philadelphia street and hear Dutch hymns, Hebrew prayers, and Swedish psalms all before breakfast. The downside, Penn was hemorrhaging cash, and his creditors were circling like seagulls at a picnic. Section 3, Rule Number 2. No standing army. Ever Quakers believed swords were bad for the soul, so Penn banned a permanent militia. Neighboring governors called it suicide. Penn countered with diplomacy, learned Lenape phrases, showed up unarmed, paid for land instead of stealing it. For 10 sweet years it worked. No muskets, no massacres, no wooden forts rotting in the rain. Then the French armed the Iroquois, frontier farms went up in smoke, and Penn, trapped in London begging for donations, realized prayers don't reload muskets. The assembly just sat there, stunned, like kids who'd discovered the tooth fairy isn't real. Section 4. Rule Number 3. Native land cannot be bought without full consent, Penn told his surveyors. If the Lenape aren't smiling, no deal. He even staged the so-called walking purchase only as far as a man could walk in a day and a half, then made both sides agree to the route. On paper, genius. In practice, Penn's agents got creative. 3 runners sprinting 60 miles, deeds written in disappearing ink, and Penn himself an ocean away. Within 1 generation, Lenape leaders muttered that the Quaker's promise had evaporated like morning dew. Section 5. Rule Number 4. Elected assembly with actual teeth. Forget cronies and powdered wigs. Penn let every free man with 50 acres vote. The assembly quickly grew bolder, rewriting the charter in 1701 to clip Penn's own veto. Farmers loved it. London creditors did not. Meetings ended early on first day so lawmakers could hit Quaker meetings, and tax bills, crickets. Penn died so deep in debt that his kids had to hand Pennsylvania back to the crown. The twist: the government designed to safeguard conscience had accidentally safeguarded everyone's except Penn's. Section 6, Rule Number 5. Total religious freedom. Even for people you don't like: Jews from Brazil, Mennonites from the Rhine, monks predicting doomsday. Everyone was welcome as long as they kept the peace. But the same open door let slave ships dock. Quaker abolitionists raged. Yet with no state church to stamp slavery as sin, the trade flourished for 40 years. Penn's dream of freedom for every conscience collided with the ugliest conscience on the market. Mid-roll seat. If you're sitting there thinking, wait, my textbook skipped the part about bankrupt pacifists, smash that like so the algorithm knows messy history matters. I've linked the court records and Lenape testimonies down below for maximum rabbit hole potential. Section 7. The cracks become canyons. By 1700, New York's governor cracked that Pennsylvania was the best poor man's country: rich land, no taxes, and no defense. Raiders cruised the Delaware River while the assembly voted down every militia bill because, well, shooting people is awkward. Finally, in 1756, the Quaker lawmakers just walked out, handing the keys to non-Quaker reps, who raised troops for the French and Indian War. The holy experiment didn't explode, it politely excused itself. Section 8. The legacy that refused to die. Voltaire called Pennsylvania's charter the best government humans had cooked up. Franklin cribbed its assembly model for the Albany Plan. Jump a century and you'll see the First Amendment, no national church. Free exercise. Right to petition looking suspiciously familiar. Every modern fight over sanctuary cities, draft dodgers, or native land claims dusts off Penn's ghost. Utopias that succeed quietly fade. The ones that crash spectacularly write the footnotes we still quote. Conclusion, outro. So yeah, America's first utopia managed 10 glorious years of no army, total religious freedom, and fair land deals, then clocked in decades of land fraud, crushing debt, and a pacifist legislature that chose bankruptcy over bloodshed. William Penn's big takeaway. Perfect dreams, Dan T, need to stay perfect, they just need to start arguments long enough for the rest of us to finish them. Let me know which of Penn's 5 rules you keep today, and which you trade for a decent Wi-Fi signal. And if you're into that can't be true history, stick around. Next up is the colony that tried communal property and accidentally gave us the weekend.